Welcome G. Let's start Java tutorial. Today we are discussing about classes and okay, how we can create objects from class. Okay, so as you know, class provides a blueprint for objects. So we have already discussed what is the class, and class through help of that class specify the structures and behavior of an object. So if you want to create the object, first you create the class. That class is specify what the attributes, what the method, a set of objects which are created from particular class have. So you create a object from a class. First you create a class. Class is a blueprint which is specify if you are going to create object 1, object 2, object 3. So each object what have a attribute, um, what have a methods, maybe two attributes, three attributes, what methods. This is the specify in your class. So you can say key if we have let's give a point class. Okay, point class. So you want to create the object, so you have to use the new keywords. Okay, and this is your variable name, and this is your variable data types. What types of data? Okay, so this is the structures of creating an object. This is your class. Class is specified whenever you want to create an object of this class, and this use the new keywords. So you can say ki finally it's like a we have a like a one statement, two statement, three statement. So it is a complete statement in if you consider they have a consider three part. First your declarations, okay, and after that your instantiations, and then initializations. Okay, so this is your reference variable which can point to any object of which type, point types, and so all the variable declarations that associated the variable names, and, and within a object types. The first, this is your variable name, and this is your object types. A second about the instantiation. So the keyword new keyword is and a Java operator that create an object. So whenever we are using this new keyword is used to create an object. If you have a class, so we have to use the keyword new to create an object. And the third installation is a new keyword allow to call a constructor uh, inside the constructor which we initialize the new objects. Okay, let's say we have a here in the case of your point have a constructor like a two argument constructor. So whenever you are creating a new object here, they are going to invoke the constructors of point class that have a two argument, and this is the input of that constructor. On the basis of this input, the object, this is the origin object one, is initialized. Okay, it's clear. So this is the way of this is your variable name, your object reference. The types of object is the point, new keyword used to create an object, and new invoke the your constructor. The constructor takes maybe some argument or doesn't take an argument, depend upon the what kind of constructors we have uh, written in our class. Okay, so in this constructor you can pass any primitive data types, or you can pass another object as well. As here this is a rectangle class. Whenever you are creating an object of rectangle is a new, they invoke the rectangle constructor. These constructors are demanding one your point object, another primitive primitive types. So your constructor can take input argument as any other object, or any primitive data type as well as. Okay, and also a constructor is the overloaded. One class can have a multiple constructor. Here, two argument constructors or three argument constructor or default zero argument constructors. Let's show the variables. Declaring a variable refer to an object. Okay, so generally what we do, light your variable name that refer to an object. Here this is the define the your object types. Similarly, like a primitive data types, you have a primitive types like int, float, double. Similarly, for creating a reference variable, the variable that refer to an object. Okay, variable that refer to an object is the also specify the type. Okay, so this notify the compiler that you will use the name is the variable to refer in a data whose types is a object types. With the primitive variable, this declaration is also same thing. Okay, so here whenever we are declaring any object type object references, they are going to allocate a proper amount of memory in for those variables. Okay, so generally whenever we are creating any reference variable, this is the concept of stack memory. Okay, that stack memory contain your reference variable, and whatever the object you are creating, that object go and store inside your memory. That is the main memory known as a heap, and this heap object references are referred by this your. So this is the reference variable, object reference variable that hold the reference of an object that is created inside your heap memory. So you can also declare like a initial way to simply first declare then initialize. Like here you have options key. First I'm declaring a variable, your origin one, the data type would be the point, and later you can initialize this origin with a new keyword to initialize a value. And if we are talking about words, sometimes we are saying instantiation of a class. So how to instantiate in a class? Using the new operator. Okay, let's key a new operator instantiates a class by allocating a memory for a new object and returning a reference to that memory. The new operator also invoke the your object constructor as well as. So whenever you are creating a like a object A equal to new, you like a class object here. So what happen? This reference variable are stored in a stack memory, and this new keyword is your create object inside a heap memory, and the reference address of this are assigned to this. Now a variable is referred to object. Similarly, you can say let's keep b variable, or you can assign to a. That means your b reference variable is created, b also point you to the same object. So instantiating a class mean just like the same thing look like a creating an object. Sometimes a instantiation of a class, or you can say creating an object. When you create an object, you are creating an instance of a class. So due to the instance of a class, therefore so instantiate a class sometimes say. So we have to new operators require a single postfix argument that is known as a your call the constructor. You have write a new keyword, after that your class name, and then open braces and close braces that take to initialize your object. So this is the syntax like your new operators return a reference to the object it's created. This reference is usually assigned to a variable of the appropriate types. So whenever you are using keyword new keyword and giving your class name, and this is the input argument of the respective constructor, and this is assigned to a reference variable. Okay, this is the reference variable types of object, which data types they are holding the value. Okay, so you have an option, you can create object. After this object is created, so this is not an object, this is the reference variable that referring to an object. Okay, the reference returned by the new operator does not have to assign a variable. Okay, you cannot say "Ki this is the your object types you can assign to the primitive data types." No, sometime maybe you want to retrieve one object of a specific field, then we have to use the your first create the object, after that get your all the fields your attributes, and then you can assign in a primitive. But here with the help of new keywords you can always assign in some object types. Correct. So let's write this kind of example. Okay, and this is your as a this is your class X, and this is your class name, opening closing brace, and here these are the field 1, field 2, and these are their constructors. Okay, so let's write an example as well as let's write a class point. A point have a let's get two integer x and two field integer y. Okay, and here you can write a constructor. You know constructor is same as your class name, and take some argument here, and here you can not constructor does not have a return value, but here I can pass integer a point and integer b, and here you can assign whatever input coming to x and whatever input coming y to b. So this is the way and how to create an object. You can create an object, your point class. I want to create an object of a point, and then you can use the new keyword and your class name. Your class name needed two. This constructor took a two argument. You have to pass two argument 10 and 20. Okay, and this way your object is created. Okay, and you have to uh, here let's see, you don't write here write if you want to write like uh, eh, here and say you cannot assign any primitive data type like int. Okay, int you cannot write here. Okay, because this is the incompatible type, because your this is the point is the object types, you cannot assign any object with any primitive data types. So be clear ki what the object is. So here your constructor, this is the constructor as I discussed. Constructor is the same name as your class name, they does not have any return value. So this is the kind of special method. And here let's we have a created one point object, and with the new keywords, and this is your two argument constructor. So what happened, this is your reference variable. Reference variables are stored in your stacks. Okay, stack memory, this is the reference variable your origin one. And whenever you are creating a new object, okay, inside your heap memory, when this new object is created. Okay, and this point point class say ki whenever you are creating an object there are two attributes. So this is one attribute your x, one attribute is your y. So this is a primitive int types, so all the values are allocated inside this object. Okay, okay, so whenever you are creating a with the object, these are value in the past 23, the 23 just passed to in x, and 94 passed to in y, and now this object is initialized with the x and y value, and whatever the address, what is the this variable, we are assigning origins one to the new, the origin one just pointing to this object. So this is the actually the object that is allocated memory inside your heap memory. This is your reference variable that refer to that object. So be clear. Okay, this is your reference. This is not an object. This is an object. Okay, that object have a two attributes x and y, and these are allocated in your heap memory, and this is a reference variable that refer to this object. Okay. So this is a reference variable. Sometime also say someone due to they are pointing to the object, so or sometimes say this is the object as well as. So be clear, this is a, not an object. This is a reference variable that refer to an object. Due to that, sometimes say this is the object of your point class. But this is actually a reference variable that point to an object of a point type. So sometimes maybe we have a class that have a not only primitive data. This is let's example of rectangle. Rectangle is a class. They have a your integer width, integer height. Might be they have a hold the object of another reference variable that pointing to the another object like a point. So in this class you can create the member as a field with the primitive data types as well as any types of your object type as well as here is the object type is a point. So whenever we let's key this is the constructor, this inside the constructor you need a three argument, one your point object, another is a primitive value, another is the primitive value, and whatever we are value receive in this constructors we are initializing with this value with the my class your object attributes. So in this case, let's now in this way you are going to the create an object. So first you the say okay, this is my reference variable react one. This is the types. What is the type of this variable? This is types is rectangle. Means they are pointing to the object of rectangle. And now how to create the object using the new keyword going to the create object. Now here the new create the object, and object have a need some initial value of what is the width, what is the height, and what is the origin point. So that initial value you can initialize in the constructor of your uh, object. While creating this new keyword also invoke your constructor, and the invoking constructor takes some input. Those inputs variable are passed here. The first you have to create one your point object and this way. So first we have a created one the point object, like this is our point object created in your heap memory, and we have a whenever we are passing to p and p point to the origin. So whenever new constructor created for rectangle, this is the new constructor for your rectangle, and the rectangle define these three fields. Okay, your origin is a point object, this is your primitive type width, primitive type height. So primitive data members are hold this value inside your object itself. Okay, Or- but this is the another object, so this is the reference variable that refer to another object. So this is the first your point object is created, and the reference of that point variable are stored in this origin. So in this way, this is the going to store in the heap. This is going to store in the heap, and this variable rect1 are going to referring this reference variable. So in this way, a multiple object can be constructed while creating one object. Okay, so be ensure that all the objects are stored in the heap memory. Okay, heap memory, and all the primitive value are stored inside the particular object, okay. But if your particular class say we can hold an object of another uh, class, another object as well as, so this is the only reference variable that refer to the actual object, correct. So be remember, you don't say this, you don't say ki your this object created inside the, no, this object point object is created separately, and that are referred by your rectangle object. So we had to say the all class have at least one constructor. Okay, whenever you say new keyword, you pipe your class name and then pass this argument. Without this parenthesis, you cannot, this is the syntax, your new keyword and your class name and your opening curly brace, closing curly brace. So this is the syntax. Here might be you pass doesn't any argument, or you can pass any number of argument. So if you don't pass any argument, that is known as a default constructor. If your class does not explicitly declare any constructor, then Java compiler automatically provides a no argument constructor, also called as a default constructor. If your class does not provide any kind of explicitly constructor, one argument, two argument, three argument, so compiler automatically provide a one default constructor for your class. This and this default constructor, this default constructors calls the your parent class no argument constructor as well as. So by default, whatever you class creating, by default this class is the child class of your object is the super class of your any object. Maybe explicitly you can create a class that is the child of your b class, be the super class. Okay, be the super class, and then though b class is the object class is the super class of b. So if you are creating the object of a class, the default constructor invoke here, and that before creating the a class object, your b class constructor also invoke. Before b, any object class constructor also invoke. So in this way, constructor chaining happen. Whenever you are creating any child class object, all the super class constructors are invoked in this manner. So each if as a developer you are not providing any kind of constructor inside your class, that time your JVM, your compiler automatically inject a default constructor inside your class. Okay. Similarly, if your class have a no other parent, though your parent class have a no constructor, then object have does one. So compiler will reject as well. If you return a let's key class 1 a, and here you specifically specify class a constructor one argument. Okay, and if you are creating the object with a like a new a in this way, so in this case compiler not injecting any default constructor. As a developer responsibility, if you want to add any explicit constructor, then you have to provide default one as well as. If you're not default providing, you cannot create object with a default constructor. So about the we have a know key how to create an object. So what's when object created, then what are the use? How to use those? So once you have created an object, you probably want to use it for do something. Okay, so what kind of things you do on an object? You may need to uh, use the value of one of its field, or change one of its field, or call one of its method to perform some action. So whenever one object you have created, at that time what you can do, you can access object have a generally a field, and also define some behavior. From this object you can access a particular field, or access particular invoke particular method as well as. So how to, let's say I want to access the particular field x, yeah, y. So how to access? So for that object field are accessed by their name. Okay, and that name must be your must define inside your class name. Like in our example here, I want to get the your object point dot your x variable. So here x variable you give the name of x. Okay, here you cannot give the name a or b something. So in this way you can access your any variable. So here you can access your uh, uh, whenever here whenever your main program start, by default for each method one stack frame is created. So one stack for your main is created, your main stacks. Okay, and here first you are declaring one reference variable object reference variable stack here, but here you are going to create new object. So new objects are created with a point class, and point class is specify we have a two fields. So here two fields are created. Okay, two fields are created, x and y. Okay. But in the constructor you say that this two fields, x is initialized with a and y is initialized with a b. So I pass 10, I pass 10. So 10s are initialized with x and 20 is initialized with a y. This is now where this object is created inside your heap memory, and the reference are assigned to your object. Okay, here you are making assignment. Assignment means that references are assigned to the object point. And now this object are your pointing to it. And the next line what to do? I want to object dot your x. So here next line say ki object dot x. What do you mean? Means ki the object dot x is a 10. So here you are able to access 10. So that 10s are displaying in as a output. Okay, so if you want the your code that outside of this object class, you must use the object reference or expression and followed by dot. So dot operator used to retrieve your field or invoke your method. So this is your object reference that refer to the particular object that are created in a heap memory, and they have sorts of field. Dot, you can specify dot and the field name which field you want to access. So dot operators are used to access your field. Okay. So to access a field, you can use the named reference variable to point to object, and similarly sometime you can also access without making a reference, directly you create the object. Okay, that reference variable are not holding to any variable, and after that you invoke a dot and you can access your height variable as well as. So sometime you don't want to make a new reference variable, and after that I want to go to access the particular field, directly you create the object and dot, use the dot operator here, use the dot operator here, use the dot operator to access the particular field. And sometime whenever we are defining a class, you are giving some your field name, as some you are defining some method 1 method 2 as well inside the class different. So inside the class blueprint you have defined some field and some method. So these method also you can access from object reference using the dot operator. To be clear, uh, an object reference to invoke an object method. Okay. Show method is any simple name that object reference, and you can use the dot operator. So you can provide this method. So let's say an example here, like show point is the method. Uh, let's return like uh, doesn't return anything. A method name like a show point. What the points? Show point x and y. Okay, and here you have written, and here let's see value x equal to plus x and plus y equal to plus y. So this what this class, say ki we have a two field and we have a one method as well as. So field we can access by dot in a field name, and you can same dot operator you can use also to access your method. And so let's see here, like your object, and dot you can access your show. So here and now if you run it, and this functions are these methods invoke this, and whatever written inside this, inside written we have a x equal to x value, y equal to y value, this value are prints. So we have to remember uh, dot operators are used to access your field, and dot operator also used to access your method. Okay, so here sometime generally your object name or the reference variable that refer to it, invoke your any method name, whichever one. Sometime your method can take some input like input argument with. You can pass also input argument in a method as well as. Let's take example. We have a written like a method like calculate area. Maybe in void in increment x. Okay, let's see increment x, and that take a your input variable like a, and I want to increment the x equal to x plus, let's key 100. Okay, so here yeah, not 100, you can pass in argument, this is a. So here let's I'm say your object point dot increment a with like 100, and after let's check our point dot show. So here first you create your object with the default value 10 and 20. Whenever you invoke the show print x1y, xy print your 10s and 20. And now after that you can say no, I want to invoke one method that take one argument integer that increment the value of x, and after that you invoke again it, and so your x value is incremented by 100. So depend upon the method which you are defining inside your class, you can invoke this method with your maybe if method doesn't take any argument, you have to pass opening braces and closing braces. And if your method takes some input argument, you have to pass your input argument. So this is your kind of syntax for if you want to invoke your field name, just dot and your field name. But you want to your object reference, and object reference dot, you want to invoke a method, your method name, then your opening brace and closing brace. That is the mandatory part if you are invoking method. So this way you can say this is your accessing your field. This syntax say we are accessing your method. Might be method take doesn't any argument, still we have to pass a blank. Some take argument, you should pass your argument as well as. So here these we have to discuss about lots of you can create the object. Okay, here maybe we have created one object, two object. Let's say we have created another object. We create object number 2. Okay, and maybe some different value. Maybe we can create another point. Maybe object reference point 3. You can assign here to maybe object 2 as well as. So here you can also this point data types object reference to point 3, that means key here let's your this is your object your object point 1, and here your object point 2, here we have created object point 3. Sorry. So first in this first new object is created. So in the heap memory one object is created that is pointing to this. and the second time you create a new object. This is the new object created with the new keyword. Whenever create a new object, and that pointing to the true, that pointing to the true. Here you are creating a three reference variable, but not using any new keyword. So new object is not created here. What you have assigned? You assign object 2. The object 2 is pointing to this object, then object 3 also pointing to the same object. Okay. And this way, let's say after some time, let's see you have done something, and after that, I want to assign your object to equal to null. Okay, and here, then what happen? So in this case, what happen? Your what happen? Your point one point to the object, point two point to the object two, point three point to the same object. Okay, but here you say ki point two equal to null, means ki point two pointing to this object just now does not pointing to the any object. Okay, still these objects are accessible from point 3. So sometime you want don't this my reference variable is refer to this object, then you have to assign your null. And here let's say I'm say your point first point equal to null, then your this object is also not as accessed by anyone. So in this case, if you are assigning a point one equal to null, your object, this object one is not accessible by anywhere. There is no any reference everywhere. So in this case, this object you can say our JVM automatically delete, automatically clean. So the particular object are not used by. Let's here I am write also your side point equal to null. Okay, and so so in this case what happened, here you have like in this way your stack frame, they have a 1 point, a point 2 and point 3, point object. Your you see your object point and object point your 2 and object point your 3. So first line say new create object, new object is created and assigned to the point. Okay, here also is a new point. So new objects are created in a heap. This is pointing to there. Here say point 3 is not creating a new object, but they are referring to point 2. The point 2 referring to this object, the point 3 also referring to this object. Here say ki point 2 null. Point 2, this is a errors null. Now these are not going to refer your object 2. This is object 1, this is object 2. And now say now I am going to null object point 3. This also you are object 1, you assign none. This is not going to refer anyone. So after that what happened? This still object 2 are accessed by the point 3. Okay, so this object is not clean or delete by your garbage JVM. But this object 1 is now no any reference are able to access it. So this object is eligible for your garbage collector, means ki we JVM can free this memory whatever used here, can delete, can clean this object. So as a some other programming language, as a manually developer have to clean the memory, but in Java support automatic memory management. So as a developer, don't think I have to manually clean the created object. Just you say now I don't want to use the particular object, just assign to reference to null. Now that means your created objects are now eligible for your garbage collector until this object have no any other references. In this case, point 2 you assign to point 2 null, point 2 null to this object, but this object is still refer by your point 3. So this object is not eligible for your garbage collection, but this object is eligible for garbage collection. Reason, now this object is not referred by any other reference variable. So the terms come as a garbage collector. So in the some object-oriented programming language, you keep the track of all the objects you create, and you explicitly destroy them when they are no longer needed. So managing memory explicitly is the very tedious and error prone jobs, and as a Java platform allow you to create as many object as you want, limited to your resources, limited to number of system available handle, and you don't have to worry about the destroying them. You have to create the object as your business, as your business logic need, and don't worry how to I am going to destroy the memory. Okay, Java runtime environment JVM delete the object when it determine that they have they are no longer being used. This process is known as a garbage collections. So here in the terms our Java runtime environment JVM is delete all the objects when it determine that they are no longer being used. Means this particular object is not referred by any other reference variable. In that case, those objects are eligible for the garbage collections. And garbage collection is the process to uh, deleting the object, means just cleaning the your objects that is created on a heap memory, so that that memory can be used for the next other purpose as well. As if you talk about the an object is the eligible for garbage collection is a process to deleting the your object from the memory when there are no more references to that point object. If your reference variable and your heap, your object 1, object 2, object 3, object 4, object 5, all are let's key variable. This variable point to this variable point to this variable point to this, and maybe other variable. If this is uh, going to the null, now this is the garbage collector. If we are going to this null, this is not garbage collector because this other variables refer to them. So when there is a no more references to that object, so references that are held in the variable are usually dropped when the variable is good out of scope. You can explicitly drop the object references by setting the variable to your null. Okay, if we want to explicitly I want to just don't know use up this object further, then just you can assign those variable reference variable to null, so that in when the garbage collector run, they can identify this object is eligible for the garbage collection, so that object can be deleted. So remember that program can have multiple references to the same object. Yes, the one object can have referred by the multiple of reference variable. So be noted when all the references object must be dropped before eligible for the garbage collection. If until both are not nullified, this object is not garbage collected. Okay, so that's a very remember thing how as a our garbage collectors know which objects are maybe eligible for garbage collector. Maybe this is accessed by this variable, maybe accessed by the another variable, maybe this object referenced by this variable, maybe this object referenced by this variable. Okay, this variable may be referred by this variable. If this is nullify, this is eligible for garbage collector because there is no other references are eligible. But in this case, if this object is nullify, is still one object, one other reference variable refer to this. So this object is not eligible for the garbage collections. These identifications which object need to be garbage collect, which is not garbage collected, it's not responsibility of Java developer. It's automatic. So Java's the one feature automatic memory management. That means our JVM Java runtime environment so intelligent, so they figure out ki how many number of memory object created inside your heap memory, and they try to figure out this object can refer by any other reference variable or not. If particular reference variable refer, then they don't touch those objects. If the particular objects are not referred by any reference variable, in that case that object is deleted by your Java runtime environment. So Java as a platform offer this facility auto memory management. You just create the number of objects you want, what the business logic say, and don't bother when we are going to delete those objects from the memory. Deletion from memory cleanup is a responsibility of your Java runtime environment. And that the who clean your memory, that process known as a garbage collector, GC. If we talk about a Java runtime environment, has a garbage collector that periodically free the memory used by the object that no longer reference. So garbage collector has does its job automatically when it determine that it's the time to write. So this is the one very confusing question ki when garbage collector run. That's the depend upon the situations. If GVM seek now feel determine lots of space have available, don't need run garbage collector. Whenever run garbage collector, it's take some your CPU time. There is the one process, one threads that collects doing something. So instead of frequently run the garbage collectors as a JVM runtime decide now they feel now it's like we are facing a low memory, lots of object created. Now I'm going to facing the maybe out of memory exception. That times run the garbage collector process and determine ki how many number of object we can delete, and if the particular object doesn't have any reference active reference variable, that they are just deleting those memory and now feel it's okay. So please be aware as a developer, you don't worry to decide when I'm going to delete memory, you just decide when I'm going to create memory. At that when as a developer, that's responsibility. After creating object, you perform some access some variables, some method. After your business logic is done, you try to, if possible, to just null assign null value to those references so that objects are can be reclaimed. So here today is the, you can say, last. So if you want to how to initiate your garbage collector, so there is the one system class system data runtime get runtime. This is the two approach system data GC. This is the one method. Okay, that initiate our they this is the garbage collector method. Okay, uh, okay. So this is the one method. This is java.lang.system class. They define on the GC method. Okay. So run the garbage collector in the JVM. So calling the GC method suggests that JVM expend effort toward the recycling the unused object in order to make memory currently occupy or reuse. So when control return from the method, JVM have a best effort to reclaim the space of all unused object. So there is a no guarantee. There is no guarantee that this effort will be recycle any particular number of unused object, reclaim any particular amount of space, or complete and in a particular times all before method return over. So system.gc method is the effectively equivalent to call the this method. Okay, so to have it this gc method, you can garbage collector, you can invoke in a two-way. You can invoke system.gc or runtime.get runtime.gc method. So both are just informing intimating the your Java runtime environment. Now, as a developer, want to run your garbage collector, and, but that's not a guarantee. Ki whenever you are invoking this GC method, at the same time your garbage collector will run. No, you just inform. So here runtime dot This is the true way. This is the true way where you can initiate. We can request JVM to start your garbage collector, but this not guarantee at the same time when developer when this code execute at the same time your garbage collector will run. Garbage collector will run on the basis of what property are configured with the Java runtime environment, and Java runtime environments will decide now if they feel they have a less memory, facing some insufficient memory while they're creating object. At that times, they as a JVM, as a Java platforms, going to run this garbage collector. Okay. So garbage collector kind of one a thread that's run in the parallelly. As a developer can initiate, can request to JVM. Here I want to run the GC. I want to start the GC. But whenever a developer requests this method to the Java runtime environment, JVM, at the same time JVM cannot run your GC. GC will run on the basis of some priority, on the basis of some JVM as a argument what were configured. So basics rule, you can request for run to garbage collector, but don't assume if I invoke the system.gc at the same time our JVM run the garbage collector and delete all the unused object. No. JVM noted your point, noted your request, and when he determine they are facing some they are unable to create the some object, or facing some percentage of memory are used, at that times they are going to initiate to run garbage collector. So you as a developer you should know that this is the methods to request our JVM to run the GC. But as a developer don't expect it is a guarantee to run the GC. Might be they run now, might be they run later, when they feel, when JVM feel that now it's time to run. How they decide the set of your JVM option, which you option as a argument you configure, and the second after a determination he really now need to run GC. Reason is that GC when run as a garbage collector thread, it's consume your CPU time, and that time your maybe your application performance going to down. So running the GC is the costly operation. So frequently JVM is not run GC, as when they decide now it's filling low memory, might be the huge number of object creating, but doesn't have a so space. At that time they run GC. So depend upon the vendor who implement this JVM specification, that decide how in which frequency the garbage collector will going to run. So just like a hotspot JVM have a minor garbage collector and major garbage collector. So we'll discuss in the future more detail about how garbage collector work. But you, for now, you just know garbage collector is the process that delete your unused object from the memory, and you can request to your JVM. I want to run the garbage collector, but that not guarantee at the same time garbage collector will run. That's the depend upon the JVM. JVM then calculate if they need JVM need now it's a time to run the GC, then GC will run. So here the summary is that we have learn about how to create object, how to initialize object, how to access the field, attributes of an object, how to invoke the method, and if you are creating lots of the object, you don't worry how to delete the memory, how to delete the object. De- Deletion of object is automatic done by your Java platform. So Java as a platform, as a language offer a feature automatic memory management. So as a developer you have to consider to creating an object and try to nullify if not it uses, and the rest is the done by your garbage collector. And garbage collector is the one daemon thread you can say that take some times to run, that is a costly operation. So this is when garbage collector run, and not run. That is not controlled by you as a developer. Developer can request them, but running and not running depend upon your JVM as a platform. The Java runtime environment decide now I'm going to run. We need less memory, insufficient memory for creating object. That time they run the garbage collector. So here I'd like to thank you for watching this video.